Now, we've just had a go at recording something which is something like perhaps the experience somebody with schizophrenia might have. Karen, you've been sat here with the headphones on. What was that like? Just describe it to us.
It was totally confusing, quite upsetting, distressing. Somebody, I'm used to being able to answer questions fairly articulately. Some might argue that at times, but normally I'm fairly articulate. But there was this constant noise in the back of my head. Sorry, Callum, to call you a noise, but there was a voice. Sometimes I could hear what the voice was saying. Other times I couldn't hear what the voice was saying. I was trying to concentrate on the questions that you were asking me, but I could only pick out the occasional word because of the distraction in my head.
And this led to, I've noticed a few times there, you were sort of scrunching up your face, trying to concentrate, really struggling with what you're saying.
Absolutely, and also there's a reaction to laugh, where it's embarrassment, and I think I was trying to cover up my embarrassment about not being able to answer the question just by laughing. I think that's a common thing that we often do.
Okay, well, but the point of this is it's trying to sort of mimic the experience that somebody with schizophrenia might have.
Yeah, it mimics one of there are many different forms and effects schizophrenia has, but one of them, and the most common that people know, is the voice in the head. So it mimics a bad episode of that, where you're trying to pick out the real world voices and what's in your head, and they're talking over the top of each other. Then, because it's in your head, it's not paying any attention to what's going on in the real world. So it's to give people an idea of what it's like to live with that.
To be honest, that was a moment, not a life-changing experience, that's a bit melodramatic, but that gave me an insight into actually, I don't understand depression, I don't suffer it from myself, but my daughter suffers from depression, and so I've lived it through her and seen that through her eyes. Now, just having a simple insight like this into what schizophrenia must be like, it's opened another question for me, and what are we going to be doing about it?
Do you think there's much the council can do about it? I mean, you have got a sort of a public health remit, haven't you?
I think just by doing what we're doing now, talking about it, and for me, mental health, it's all about improving mental health. You've got to start somewhere, and it's about talking about it. It's accepting that a large percentage of the population at some time or other will experience an issue with mental health, and it's to be treated no differently to cancer or measles or mumps. It's a disease, it's an illness, and there should be no stigma attached to it. We should be able to talk about mental health, whether it's depression, schizophrenia, in the same way as we talk about cancer.